Okay, so third presentation. This one, 1 hour. I mean, we are on a sprint right now, and that is the end of a run. So, workshop of 1 hour. Obviously, let's make this thing really short. If we want to show you in a workshop what Zentil openchange is about, it takes 3 minutes. Hey, I have 1 hour to fill. So, what I am about to do is, well, I want you to know a little more about the openchange story, so you know what is the background, what we are doing, what is the underlying technology. And then we have, obviously, some videos of all of the different features that we are providing. So you can get the complete picture, and then when you get home, and also how do you install it, so you can get the slides and see how to install it if you want to reproduce everything properly. Okay, so introduction. Is there anybody that was not here yet, that was not here yesterday? Because I have 3 slides, I can go very quickly so we can start to focus on the real thing, history. So, what we've been doing during this last 3 months was to turn this 3 hours installation into a 3 minutes advanced deployment, which means that if you have your operating system that is installed, everything is working properly, you have the network configured, and then you run Zentil on top of it with openchange, and you deploy all of the different services. In 3 minutes, you have a running openchange server. And that is exactly what we are going to demo a little later. So we have turned a technology into a product. That is a pitch. Now let's go how it goes. Just before that, the introduction is that we are going to go a little in depth into history. So you know where we come from, what we've been doing, why we are working with Zentil today, and why I'm part of Zentil, and why we are going to change the world with Zentil. So the origins. Ooh. So it's a 10 years history. I mean, that is part of my life. I mean, it's just like one of my arm is probably, well, a little more than one arm. Let's say my 2 legs are openchange. So if I cut off all my legs, what do I have left? Well, you know, I just have my arms, and I can claim for help, help, help. Nobody's going to help me. So, well, we are going to try to make this a little short, and that started in 2003. So I've just taken the example. Okay, that's a bit arrogant, but I am French, so I have the rights to take, you know, arrogant examples. And one of them is to take as a you know, as a layout of a history, is to take the La Sagrada Familia. So, in 1982, we have the Sagrada Familia, we have the Primera Piedra, the first stone ever that was done here. And that's exactly what happened to openchange. And where we started, that was as an end study project in my computer science school. I had working fellows, and we say, hey, let's do something crazy. What are the options? On the one hand, we can do a website. Boring. On the other hand, we can do this crazy thing nobody has ever done before. Do you think we can find documentation? No. Do you think we can succeed? We're going to see. Do you know that if we don't succeed, we fail our graduation? Yes. So we went for that. And it took us something like 2 years to come with something in 2005 when we were graduated. Yes, we were graduated. But we didn't have anything working or even close working. The only thing we had close were a documentation or something like 15 pages and a lot of knowledge in our head, but nothing substantial. But during this period, I've met Julien Kerihuel, the founder of the Samba project. And this guy is just amazing. His guy is my spiritual mentor in technology, because in 2004, when they started the Samba 4 project, and they started to rewrite the DCRPC stack from Samba to move from something that was monolithic and hard-coded into something that was auto-generated with the compiler. I had this guy. I mean, we just met, you know, random, you know, like meet happens, but virtually. And so I never saw the guy. It was just on IRC. We were talking, and then this guy, pure genius, just told me, hey, do you want to know more about Samba 4? We can organize a conf call, and we can, you know, do a screen sharing and stuff like that. I say, okay, I'm about to talk to the Samba 4 founder. I mean, the guy who has been written this piece of history and all of his source code, and so a genius. And so the guy, I mean, just like that, it happened, and we just had this conference call. And from the moment, I knew that, you know, nothing could go back again. I mean, that was the way things had to do. And this is how we need to do open source software. We need to help people. We need to embrace the technology. We need to share the knowledge. And that is really the thing that motivated me. Next, we come to the 2003 and 2008 period. So more than 2005, 2008. And still, Julien Kerihuel had implemented a technique in Samba 4. This is the way Samba had been written. It is called the French cafe technique. So this time it's not the French being arrogant. I mean, he just named it this way. So I'm very happy because it has this name. But what is it about? Let's imagine that we are in a world where there is no material, no courses, no classes. You have absolutely no way of learning French. Yeah, thank you. But still, you want to learn it. So what happened? You go into a coffee, you sit at a table, and you listen to what people order and what the waiter is providing back. And eventually, at some point, you will be able to discover what the word coffee means, what the word French tortilla, all of these words, you will be able to learn all of them, but at some point you get the menu, and that is primarily all you need. If you want to get a little further, let's say that you want to learn how to swear in French. So when the guy, and you know how to ask for a coffee, the guy asks you for a coffee, and you just slap the guy in the face. It's very likely that the waiter is going to punch you back and kick your ass, put you out of the cafe, and just say hey and swear in all the language. And while he's doing that, after he has punched you, you take various copious notes of everything what happened, all the bad words he said. And this is what we call the French cafe technique, because you are learning a lot from the errors. I mean, the swear words are the errors in the network protocol words. And so basically, when you have evaluated, when you know everything about the classical languages, you can learn more from the errors. Because, practical example, if I have a protocol, I change some particular bytes, and I get an error from Microsoft that tells me unknown code page. Well, I know that the field I had modified, that for me was so far unknown, is a code page. And then step by step, slowly, I can start to analyze the protocol and be able to figure out the layout. So that is what the French cafe technique is. Now, in the real world, this is what it really looked like. So this is a picture taken in 2005. On the right, Andrew Tridger, Andrew Bartlett. You have Gunther on the right, and you have me in the middle, just like praying the hexadecimal God. And that was at the very beginning where we were trying to implement the MAPI protocol. So it was really the early stages. And at some point, we came to another level where we just say, hey, okay, we have experienced all what was possible in the protocol analysis, the way that Samba has been doing it. But hey, we have reached a limitation, and we are not able to get further. So at the moment, I've been working with different companies that wanted to invest some development into openchange, and this is how we came to develop the proxy side of openchange, which is the very preliminary bit of the server side. And the proxy had the ability to put you in between an Outlook client and an Exchange server, and either do transparent proxying, or you could do one acceleration thing, so we could cache the information, we could compress the information and send it over, or we could do local proxying. So let's say that you have one that downloaded an attachment or downloaded a file and is in online mode, then we could just cache the file locally and play it back to Outlook directly, rather than let Outlook go directly to an Exchange server that could be at the other end of the world. And with this technology, we say, hey, we can go the other way, we can improve the French cafe technique with a new thing. And this is a technique we put in place, which was the French waiter technique. So let's say that this time we are taking the other side. We are not anymore a customer, but we are the waiter. And as a waiter, I want to see how I can, impact on my customer and how my customer can react. Well, Outlook customer. And this time, let's say that I salt the coffee. And I have three possible options. The first one is that he silently drink it. Well, no good for me, but anyway, that means that it doesn't have any impact. Or he can ask for another one, very politely, or he can swear and just leave. Other possibility, I just ignore the customer call. I mean, I do the typical French waiter, I didn't see you. And you are moving along. What can happen in this case is, for how long is he going to wait? Is he going to wait indefinitely, for 5 minutes, for 2 minutes? What is the timeout? And depending on the timeout, we know what is the level of expectation we can have. Is it going to call for something different, a manager or waiter? Is it going to call for another service, try a different thing? Or is it just going to move to the cafe next door? And the final thing is, just pretend that we don't speak French. I mean, you're a French coffee, but you don't speak French. I mean, really rare. How many tries does he do before he leaves? I mean, is he really trying to try again, and by some point say, I can't get my coffee, I just move away? Or is it going just try to order the coffee in another language? So using a different version of a protocol, maybe encryption, maybe using XOR L5 stuff. So this is how things happen. And in 2008, actually in April 2008, after Microsoft was condemned by the European government, they decided to open the protocol, and on the protocol, they also included the Microsoft Exchange protocols. They were not necessarily obliged to, but they did it, and thank you very much for that. And that has been something very interesting, because we have been able, from the very beginning, from the early stage of a specification, to say, hey, look, we have done the things properly. Yeah, we had no documentation, we didn't know anything about it, you know, just like the ego of a developer, pure ego. But rapidly, we were just unhappy. Why were we unhappy? Because from a pure developer's perspective, I mean, I had spent the last 5 years of my life reading hexadecimal code, reading at network flow, doing Wireshark capture, taking packets, trying to retrace a protocol, just try to retrace an ancient language. It's just like if there were the Atlantic city, and I had made all of this discovery, I had written a book, and somehow an Atlant just come out on Earth and say, hey, I'm an Atlant. Yeah, you really want to know about the story. That's exactly what happened. But rapidly, I mean, you know, you move to something different. I mean, that was part of your life. It's just like, you know, you believe to Santa Claus, and at some point you move to something different. And then we came to the 2010 and 2012 period, where we started a collaboration with the Sogo people that were interested into developing a storage backend for openchange. It took more or less something like 2 years, and within these 2 years, they've been able to implement something really interesting that was based on open source technology. I mean, the Sogo groupware is purely open source technology. It plugs into other backends, and openchange plugs onto. So it's just like a massive glue. It's Samba, openchange, Sogo backends, and you can move Sogo away. You can put another backend if you want, as long as the development goes on. And then there is Zentyal. And at some point in 2013, we just met, pure hazard. I mean, you know, pure random luck. And we just say, hey, wow, we have this point in time where the technology matters, where it starts to make sense. You are doing software integration. You are doing very, very nicely. People like the software. What you're doing is great. What you provide with openchange is a natively Exchange server compatible server, no Outlook connector, no fancy thing. We can just plug in. Okay, let's work together. That was not obviously the only reason, but that was part of it. And then we have been working on a 3-month sprint from July to September. July, that match obviously just after the code freeze of the 3.2, and we've been working. You just have to know something about Spain, is that in August, Spain is just like this city. I mean, you have nobody in the streets, nobody seems to work. I mean, you know, I was taking a Spanish lesson at La Cámara de Negocio de Zaragoza, and I say, yeah, obviously, I would like to take Spanish lessons in August. And I say, what? In August? Seriously? So, okay, I understood that it would not be possible, but hopefully in Zentil, we are just like in the saloon. All the men were at the table, and all the men were working. Well, yes, without the alcohol, but we were working. And we've been doing a great job. And so, the assessment is history context. We had this technology available, the openchange technology available. We had the Samba 4 that was already integrated into Zentil since 3.0. And we wanted a first technology preview available for the summit. So let's see what are the technology contests. We have numerous features that are available, and yeah, we can't implement all of them. I mean, if we want to do a great job, a good job, we can't reasonably implement all of them. Otherwise, just like, you know, taking the bread, the butter, and only put the butter on half of a part of the bread. So it doesn't make sense. We wanted to have the complete thing ready. And we didn't have automated testing. So focus on what matters. 5 points. We wanted to have an easy installation and configuration, reliable quality assurance, focus on what is the foreseeable future. Basically, it doesn't make sense to say, hey, this is what is going to be the future in 3 years, let's start now. No, people are waiting at the moment for a replacement. So let's put this replacement, working and available. We wanted the common set of features to be available, and obviously we wanted to move from just being integrators to be contributors. And so, what is the choice? Well, Outlook 2003, Microsoft Exchange 2003 are coming to an end in 2014. I did you the speech already. You already saw other speeches, so you know about it. Now the question is, do we have a choice? Well, bet you Paul. That's your last chance. On one hand, you take the blue pill. You wake up in your bed with your Microsoft softwares upgraded or whatever solution you have chosen, and you believe whatever you want to believe. But if you take the blue pill, then you go with the Zentil. And what happened with Zentil is that we go deep into Wonderland, and we see how deep the rabbit hole goes. So what we're offering is just the truth. It's honesty. We don't offer you more for the moment than a technology preview. That's what the technology preview is about. So about installation. Now let's go about how you install things. I will assume the three things. The first one is that I have my Zentil Server 3.2 that is installed out of the box, a fresh install, without any module selected at the moment. Second thing is that I'm going to add the repository where you can find the openchange package right now. So if you do have your 3.2 fresh install that is available, right, the packages are available right now. Yes. Yeah, but if you want to avoid problems, remember, technology preview. So if we would just want to reproduce in the condition that we have, for example, prepared the computer for the demo, take a fresh install. Otherwise, you just go for your 3.2 and you send bug reports. Say, hey, I already have my 3.2 install. It doesn't work. This is the bug. And so we can fix it. And so you just add this repository, which is the archive.zentil.org Zentil 3.3 main extra. It's probably going to be moved to something different from extra in the future because, the name is not relevant for what we are providing. It's more just like a ZLab feature. But anyway, third step, we are doing an apt-get dist upgrade. And then your 3.2 will be upgraded with all of the 3.3 preliminary package, alpha package that are required to run openchange. Now, configuration. That was all for the installation part. Now we are going to configure. First of all, we are going to install the packages, doing the network configuration. In my setup, it was really a blank thing. Doing the user in group, standalone deployment, the virtual domain, and the openchange provisioning. So first one, I just select the openchange package. I click on select, and then I have the list of all the dependencies that are required to install openchange properly. What matters to us are the user and computers, the network configuration, the mail service, and the other, just like the cloud, are not required specifically for openchange, but they are installed by default. Okay, so first thing, and that is the critical thing. We are talking about openchange, and openchange runs on top of an Active Directory, which means that we need a static IP address. If you only have DHCP, it's going to be a massive failure, and it's not going to work. So you want to have at least one interface with a static IP address. So we go through the configuration. I have one internal, one external. In my case, it was running through a VirtualBox environment. So I had one that was set up just like with NATed, and the other one which is an internal network, so I could map it properly. Next, I just have clicked yes on selection of packages, and all of these screens are appearing one after the other. So if you follow it, there's no bad surprise. There's no just like you have, oh yeah, I didn't tell you that you had to click here. No, it's working out of the box. Next, I'm installing a domain controller on top of the server, and I'm going to choose for a standalone server, and I'm choosing the domain Zentyal-Summit2013. Next step, I'm going to, once it's provisioned, I'm going for the virtual mail, and I'm selecting the same domain. Why would I have to change? So I'm using Zentyal-Summit.clan too. And finally, congratulations, I have installed the basic configuration. I just have the openchange to install now. That was as easy as that. So next, I go in the left menu because I have the openchange installed, and I click on provision. And then this is where we have the provision script, where you can either select for a first openchange server or first exchange server. The typo is probably wrong. We got noticed a little earlier, so we are probably going to fix that to a hot fix for next packages. And you can select your first organization and first organizational unit, and then you just click on OK and select if you want all the user to be available after provision. The other case is if you select an additional openchange server. In this case, it requires your Samba to be already an additional domain controller and have the exchange schema replicated to Samba. And so in this case, we will be using the exchange schema and not provision openchange, and just try to reuse the existing schema and just do the modification properly. So whenever you want to upgrade a mailbox from an exchange server to openchange, it works out of the box. Okay, so I'm saving the changes. I just click OK. And wow, this is done. I mean, nothing more. End of the workshop. You have a running openchange server on your workstation. I mean, on your server, and ready for your workstation. But hey, see, we still have 48 slides to go. So what is the surprise? Okay. So the surprise is now it's time to test, and we are going to cover both the command line tools and how to test it with Outlook. So we are going to create a new user in the Zentil interface. We are going to enable the openchange access, test it with command line tools, and test it with Outlook. So I'm creating my new user. I call it Summit, and Mr. Summit, in fact, is Mr. Zentyal Summit. He's 2013, and the hidden password, I mean the very secret password, is Zentil here. So I'm adding my user. Once it's added, I can go directly to the model configuration for this user, drop down the openchange account, and just click on enabled. And once it's on enabled, then I have my openchange account enabled. And at this very first moment, my user is now available for an Outlook, I mean in an Outlook configuration. If it was not, I mean if I didn't select that, I could do whatever I want. My user is in Active Directory, but there is no way that this user can be configured with Outlook, because we are looking for specific attributes that are only available for users that have an openchange enabled account. Which means that in your very same organization, you can have users that are only for Active Directory, only for file sharing, and you can have other users that are both for file sharing and for openchange, which lets you, split the way you want your organization to work and the services you want to attribute. Another thing is that let's say, okay, but I have all of these users, will have to do that each time. If you go to the user template, you have the ability to just enable the openchange account automatically whenever you add a user. So you avoid the pain of going to enabled and select things. Okay, now let's go command line. So we are going to get deep into the rabbit hole goals. So what we are going to use is classical openchange tools. They are available from any repository. I mean, you don't need to be on your Zentil server. You can be on any workstation as long as you have access to your Zentil server. That can be a Ubuntu, that can be a Fedora, that can be open source. We have packages for all of the different distributions. So everything's just okay to this regard. You're just happy to get install openchange. What it will do, it's install from the repository. If you install from your Zentil server, just one trick, because it will probably fetch it from the local, from Zentil repository, and you just need to export the proper path. It's opt samba4 bin. If you don't do that and you just write the command, it would just say path not found. So just to avoid the pain of sending us an email, hey, here's the trick. Just export the path environment variable. Okay. Next thing is we want to do a DNS setup, because the openchange client tools are, even if you are using an IP address, they are going to query a service on the openchange server and try to get a fully qualified domain name. So if you already use a fully qualified domain name, the authentication will be done either for Kerberos, and it will fall back to NTLM SSP. If you are using an IP address, by default it will be NTLM SSP, but it will still try to reverse to a fully qualified domain name for other purposes. So two possibilities. The first one is that, hey, you point your etcresolve.conf to the DNS of the openchange server. Very easy. The second one is, I don't want to do that. I just want the hackish way. I have my workstation working. I just want to test openchange. Then just go and edit etc hosts and do the mapping between the fully qualified domain name of your Zentil server and the IP address. And that will be just fine for the moment. Okay. Next thing, we are going to create a profile, because before we can do any MAPI operation, it's just like with Microsoft Outlook, we need to create a MAPI profile. So we have this tool called MAPI profile. that lets you create the profile properly. So first of all, we are creating a new database, and then we are creating the profile. So you are not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to store the password into the database. You can, I mean, if you want to store it externally, you can do it. There has been work into this regard, but nothing definitive on how to store it into an encrypted store. That could be provided by the operating system directly, but nothing, I mean, nothing integrated at the moment. So as of today, that is the easiest way of configuring it. So I'm passing the profile name, I'm passing the username of my account that I'm creating, using with the password, specifying the domain, the IP address of my Zentyal server, and I just use the create command. And in the background, everything is doing the MAPI connection to the openchange server through TCP, and I have my profile created. Now, if I want to see what is behind the curtain, if I really want to see what are the MAPI operations that are done, if I want to do the hexadecimal way, let's show me some output. Then you can just add --dam data and -d10 to enable the debug and enable the dump of data. You will see all of this crazy thing going on. This is what we read when we are doing debugging. I mean, because that is the best way to understand what was the behavior of one client and what it failed. So you just add that if you want, to make your little pleasure. It's just like the cherry pick, it's just like the extra. Okay. Another tip that generally people, when they are setting an openchange profile, I prefer to set it as a default. This way, I never have to worry any longer about specifying the profile each time I'm doing it. So I'm just using MAPI profile -- profile equals summit and specifying the default flag, and it becomes the default one. And if I'm using the list one, then I will see my list of all my different profiles, and I will be able to see the default one. Other command is if you run MAPI profile --dump, then you have a dump of the database with the profile and the information that you have stored. And moreover, the mailbox, which is directly fetched either from the openchange server, if you are testing it again on openchange server, or if you want to use it for other purposes, for instance, with a remote exchange server, it will work exactly the same. So, with that, now we have a profile. It's set as a default. Then we can do the test operation, and we are going to do an openchange client -- profile. In this case, I specify it just in case that you didn't follow the step by step. And we are using the -- mailbox, and what this command is doing is exactly what Outlook is doing when it retrieves the mailbox and tries to list all the folders. So in this case, my openchange account is completely empty, and where I don't have any content, and I can see all of my different folders coming in. One of the limitations of a current openchange implementation is that we don't support internalization. That is something that we are looking for. It's not complicated. It's just the top root folder of the mailbox are all in English, because that is the server that said that. The Outlook client can say, hey, I would like them to be, I don't know, in French or in German or in Hungarian or in Spanish, but we don't have the translation as of today, so it won't be working. We have, I mean, if you are really interested into that, we have local, I mean, quick hack that we can point you to that would let you do that. I mean, if it's really something, if it's a blocker. I don't think that should be a blocker, but if it's a blocker, we have solution on how to work around this. Okay, so now we've been doing that with the command line tool. Let's go with the Outlook way, because basically we don't want only to be using command line tool. We also want the Microsoft way. So we have two ways. The first one is, let's say my workstation is joined to the domain. I join my workstation to the domain, like Samuel did in his workshop, so the client didn't notice the migration. In this case, if you are trying to authenticate with Outlook, it will use the Kerberos authentication and the ticket, so you don't have to enter any credentials. However, if you are in the case where your workstation is out of a domain, let's say that it's on different subnets, and then in this case, you will have to force the use of the NTL MSSP authentication. I mean, just like with a normal Microsoft Exchange server. The only thing is that we just have something that we don't enable. We don't make it possible to pop up the credential window automatically. So you just need to specify it manually. But we'll go over it. So, hey, recognize this is an Outlook 2007. So obviously the solution is working with Outlook 2003, 2007, and 2010. We are providing in this TP1 support for 2003. And the tests are being doing with 2007 because we are already anticipating. On this window, the only thing is that you see we are not using the auto discovery thing from Microsoft, but we already have the technology. It's just that because we focused on 2003, we didn't have time and we didn't want to integrate it for the TP1, but it will be ready for the TP2. So we are manually configure the settings. And then once I've manually configured the settings, I click on More Settings, I go to the Security tab, and well, I can select to encrypt the data, but more importantly, I'm asking for always prompt for the credentials. I can choose for negotiate authentication or use NTLM, whatever. I mean, it's not a problem. What I want is to get a pop-up, so when we have the fallback of authentication to add TLM SSP, because there is no Kerberos ticket here, then I can enter my credentials. So then I'm select. Well, this one should have gone before. I was selecting Microsoft Exchange, and I had the other one. Here is it again. Ooh, spooky. Okay. So next, when I click on Check Name, I have my pop-up coming on, and I can use here. I could basically use whatever credential I want from a valid openchange server. If I have 10,000 users, and the same with Exchange. No matter what the user, I can create a profile of another user with whatever user. It's not a problem. It's just, I mean, a pack of file that you fetch, a pack of data that you fetch from the Active Directory and are available to all users. What matters is that when you log in with the real credential, you will have an SCL. I mean, you will have an access denial when you try to access another one's user mailbox if you don't have the right to. So, I mean, classical default security. So here I'm just entering credentials, and if it's work, then my IP address will be turned into underline a fully qualified domain name and save for my username. I click on next. Congratulations, finished, and then I'm just opening my Outlook mailbox. This is exactly the behavior that you should have out of the box if you follow this step. There is no hidden thing. There is no missing step. It's just like we take you hand by hand to all of this. And once you finish the first synchronization is done, then you end up with having on your left your mailbox. And you will see one of the difference with Microsoft is that we could possibly be named the mailbox the way we want. I mean, at the moment it's mailbox dash the username, but we also have the ability to name it with openchange mailbox. So you won't see the difference. And from here you have all of the different system folder that are created, and you can do all of the different operations. Okay, so the openchange webmail. This is where we are starting with a demo. I have until 2:30, so I have 20 minutes of demo, which would be great. Okay, quick overview. We already covered that yesterday, so I'll go very quickly. Based on RightCube, largely deployed solution, numerous plugins available, and we have groupware capabilities. We have developed by Zentil the PHP binding that are on top of the libmappy library, and that give us the calendaring and the contacts through Mappy, and the other way through groupware. But let's go for the demo. So, okay, demo number 1, the RunCube thing. So, we start with the calendar. How do I do? Oh, pantalla completa is full screen? Okay. Okay, cool. Pantalla. Okay, so here I have on my left my RunCube. Everything is behind is an openchange server. There is no Exchange server in the picture. Here I'm creating, and you can hear Mickey typing in just like if we had this streaming thing. Ooh. So we are just creating an appointment here from Outlook that we are going to send. So send it. We see that it appears. We create another one. Basically, we are creating a summit presentation. I mean, the summit schedule. Before it got a little modified. Maybe accelerate this a bit because we have a third event that is coming on. And once it's done, basically at this point, if you just go to the RunCube, it's not going to work because Outlook is by default configured in cache mode. So all the information are stored locally. If you want them to be synchronized, you need to go on send and receive to force the synchronization, or click on Shift F9 if you want to do, you know, like the support way. Shift F9, you are sure that everything is pushed. So I'm creating okay. Okay, so I have basically no way of, well, we are condemned to wait for it. Okay, so sending and receive. And then I go to my run cube. So in this demo, everything was done on a single single computer. So we had the virtual machine, we had the environment. So it's pretty damn slow. It's even slower than, I mean, it's way quicker in the 3.2 release and with the packages that we are providing. So in this case, what it done is it go fetch everything, and we'll see the appointment showing up automatically here in a matter of seconds. Okay, so here they are, right at the proper place. So I can edit the details. I can add a description, for example. I can even move the different appointments. So I have exactly all of the different interactions that I would have with expected WakeMake client to this regard. Just remember, that is just like a 3-month effort. So just imagine what we'll be able to do with more time. I mean, what Mickey has done on the RunCube interface and what Hammer has been doing in the background with a PHP binding, really great job. So I'm really happy of the engineering team. Okay, so now we are doing the synchronization, and we'll see directly we have seen the appointment moving on the upper right from one to the other, and the description to be updated. So it's, I mean, this is live. There is no shortcut. I just didn't ask them to say, hey, can you cut the 20 minutes where openchange was just crashing? No, it's just working out of the box. So I have also the reminder, things like that. But you get the picture about this one. So I can, okay, finally select. And I can create recurrent event. At the moment, the recurrency is working when you create it from Outlook, but you can't, it doesn't work when you create it from RunCube. So it's just a limitation that will be, for which we'll get right in a matter of days or weeks. Okay, so, the next one, oh, let's see, no, posa, salir de pantalla completa. The other one is with contacts. So because these two are important, because these are the ones that are using the mappy thing. Right here, what we see is all of the contact that comes from my Active Directory, from my openchange server. So what I'm going to do is, if I click on contact, this time I switch from the Active Directory that is fetched over LDAP to the contacts that are fetched that are directly from your personal contacts folder. So it's fetched directly into your inbox, into your contacts folder, and they are coming from here. So in this case, I have 3 contacts, one which is Doctor Who, and we'll see that the 3 contacts are showing up. The picture takes a little longer to load in, but well, you have all of the pictures showing up too, and you can edit the contact and so on. So we just moved to the part where we are creating a new contact. We are going to create it from the RunCube interface, showing into Outlook, and then update Outlook with the picture, and then get it back to RunCube to see if the picture got updated properly. So, here it is. So I'm creating Batman. Yeah, Mickey is a big fan of Batman. Actually, he has a bat suit and a bat cave and a bat car and a bat jungling and a lot of bat thing. So, but Mickey is not around, so that is not fun. So we are creating it. He comes from Gotham City. This is the address. Okay, enter Gotham. Well, the bat cave, blah, blah, blah. So we add the contact. It's instantly, I mean, once you save it and you see that it's saved, it's instantly available for Outlook because we are doing online operation from the webmail interface. So there is no retention. You don't need to synchronize anything. The drawback of this solution is that we don't have any offline mechanism connection at the moment, which means that if you lost the connection or if you don't have availability with the openchange server, then you don't have any way to do all of the addition, save it locally, and then synchronize later, like some other groupware servers are doing when they are deploying RunCube with HTML5 features. So now we just synchronize, and after the synchronization, we see the contact that appears directly. And we can just edit the contact and add a nice picture of Batman. Okay. So add me this picture, okay, of Batman. Save it. And we can hear also host because we were in debugging session at the moment. And we can just synchronize. So the same way is that it just does not update the folder, it just do a full refresh. So this is why also it implies slowiness. But let's say that if it's for testing purposes, if you want to get a first taste, that's already, I mean, that's the best we could provide in such a short amount of time. So, I mean, we are happy with this preliminary result. At least this is not something that exists. I mean, you have no other RunCube open source software that is based over openchange that is able either to connect to openchange through webmail like that, or to connect to an Exchange server. Obviously, you have the webmail interface from Sogo, but we are not running the Sogo daemon. So to this regard, this is the only interface that you can have that is at the same time, without any change, compliant with a Microsoft Exchange server or without an openchange client. And at the same time, the same interface in the future, you would be able to use it in place of the Microsoft Cloud Office 365, because I mean, we can use exactly the same way. So that would be even better. Okay. Quick thing about the contact in LDAP to demonstrate a bit what we've been talking, which was that a user that is not openchange enabled is not browsable from either Outlook or RunCube. So here we are doing the test with RunCube. We just show the output on Outlook, but you're going to have to trust me on words that it's working, or you can just test it. I mean, you've seen all of things, so you can just test it out of the box. So I'm creating a new contact. This contact is available from my Active Directory. He has access. I mean, if I add him some group permissions and I have shares, then he will have access to all of the different files. No problem with that. He can log into the domain. He can join the domain. So everything's good. But here, my contact does not appear. So if I want him to appear, I need just to click, edit it, and put it as being an openchange account enabled. And in this case, once I refresh, so sorry, the definition is not bad, but we are going to push the video. So if you want to review them, you will be able, you know, just to read them again. Okay, and once it's saved, save it. Okay, now we just refresh, and once we refresh, we see that the new contact is showing up here automatically. So exactly the same way, and it's as automatic with Microsoft Outlook, because for this kind of information, for the global address list lookup, Outlook is also doing things live. So here we have the contact again. Obviously, we have the mail features, but we are going to move because we are probably going to run out of time if we want to show the migration and also the SQL thing. So we are going directly to move to some of the SQL presentation, some of the SQL demo. So to make you understand what SQL is, so we discussed about the limitation, just to end, that we are going to solve in the next weeks or month. The lack of scalability for a very large number of customers, the speed improvement that need to be that is required, a better session handling, so we don't have to refresh all the time, but we can keep the session among the for a persistent user, and finally the offline mode and storage HTML5. Now, if we go to the QA automated tested, that was required because that was one of the leading key feature missing in openchange, is that, hey, we are developing code, we are hacking code, we are providing new feature, but at no time we have someone that spend his day is raising the red cartoon, the red card, and say, hey, you can't publish that because it is breaking with all the existing feature that you had. So, well, Zentyal bridged the gap, and Julio and Neru bridged the gap. So, hey, clap for our QA team too. They've been doing a great job, both for the infrastructure, Zentyal and the Windows server, helping to deploy complex scenario. Kike also with the OpenStack deployment. So, well, you know, we just bridge the gap. We have one infrastructure that just does not exist just did not exist yet. To make this possible with Microsoft Outlook in a Unix environment with Linux. So, same slide as yesterday. We have OpenStack deployment. At the moment, it's VirtualBox, but it's meant to be pushed on OpenStack within the next week. We have a different Microsoft Outlook with virtual machines, and we have the SQL script. And what it does is test all of the different scenarios. So the thing is that we want to be able, for each of the different Outlook version, to test all of the potential scenarios that we can think of or someone tell us about. So in the end, we have a rock solid infrastructure when we can replicate data, and and that can also be something that we can use for customer scenario. Let's say we have we receive a PST file, and this PST file is causing a trouble for any reason, just like something missing or corrupted or something in the, the PST got corrupted. Then this way we have a way to guarantee that we can reproduce the problem at any time and get sure that if it gets fixed, we never get the problem ever again. Okay, demo time. So demo time, similarly, we won't have time to spend all of them, but let's take the more relevant. We are going to take the 2003 calendar, the 2007 contacts, and the 2010 mail. This way we have a taste of all of them. So let's start with the ancient, the 2003. Okay. Oh, okay. No. Does it support OGV? Mm-hmm. Okay. What was the other tool that were? Yep. Okay. So while we try to discover why OGV is not supported on this laptop, yes, VLC. Okay. So this is the first scenario where we are going to run the script. So we have an openchange server running in the background, and it's controlled within a Win test environment. Here we are just launching the test. Yeah, cool. So we run Sickly. So Sickly is a scripted IDE, and all the things that you see here are not done by a human. It's all scripted. So we can go to it's in the slow mode. So we are going to see some. No, we are not going to see them. Okay, so I'm creating an appointment. So everything is just scripted. You can, select this is the text box, this is the description box, this is the widget. I want to click here, and do this operation, all within a single text file with a piece of pictures that let you with a very nice algorithm. And what does this test is basically it's able to create the calendar item. So we just make sure that we create a calendar, that we are able to change it and to see that, it shows up properly. I think it's over? No. To change also the date and guarantee that the date is shown properly and that it doesn't cause any server. Basically, here, if you see the send receive, if at some point you see that the connection with the Exchange server was disrupted, was broken, it means only one thing is that openchange crashed. openchange crashed. The whole stack or openchange Samba. Sometimes it's on purpose because there are some abort condition in the code to prevent something nasty from happening, just like we don't want to alter the storage backends. Sometimes it's just that you have figured out a bug, and if so, please do send bug reports. Okay, the next one, if we've got with the two Outlooks, Outlook 2007 for the contact. So we have this same technology. The same thing. We are writing the script. Writing a script at the beginning was a bit long because the QA team needed to get familiar with the technology. But now, they are doing that in a matter of minutes. So we have a test suite that at the moment is preliminary. We would have liked to get the full Outlook 2003 suite completed, but we prefer to have tests for all of the different platforms to get sure that the technology that we are using is compliant. So here we are creating a contact, and we are, the send is received. You see on the log all of the operation that go, so you have a double click, the click, and it maps some different region of the screen. So I can modify the contact, save, ensure that it's working. And in the end, we also need to be looking at the storage backend if the information is stored properly. For the moment, that is the thing that is not linked, but will be in the future. Okay, and I think we can move directly to the third one, which is with Outlook 2010, just to show that we have this automated support. And with the mail. So, in this case, the mail, we are going to send and receive a mail to ourselves and make sure that we are receiving the mail, that we can send the recipient, send the email, and that we can fetch it back. So let's create a new email. So let's first wait for Microsoft Exchange to Microsoft Outlook to update with openchange server. Now we open the new mail item thing. We click on 2. We select the recipient, so we select ourselves. Okay. We specify the subject. Yeah, really important, but where is the subject? Okay, the subject, and we send it. We save it. Okay, we save it. We don't send it. Oh, next. Okay, yeah, I've spoiled something. So, first of all, we have it that is available into the draft folder. So we synchronize with the draft folder. Anytime you save a mail item, it falls into the draft folder. And then we are going to edit it again, or we are going to send another one. Yeah, another one. Why not? Send another one, and this time we are going to send it, right? Yeah. And we are going to see it going through. So what happens is that it goes to openchange. Openchange delivers it to the Sogo backend. The Sogo backend delivers it to the postfix. And postfix is sending it locally and deliver it through LDA to devcode. And devcode have it in the store. And then when Outlook goes look for it, it asks openchange, that it asks somebody, that asks openchange, that asks Sogo, that asks devcode, and get the information back. So it's just like the Russian dolls. Russian dolls. Okay, and we got the message received. Yep, not yet. Okay, so we just send and receive, and we should see it appear right here. Okay, cool. So that's what we are doing, and it took us some time to find the correct technology. We've been assessment on all of the automated QA thing, automated graphical interface that were available to find what was the most relevant at the moment. And now we are really confident with the WinTest infrastructure that is provided by the Samba team, and we are trying to improving, with the OpenStack environment that we are working on, with the SQL script to do automated QA, to do automated graphical interface, with obviously the Selenium for the web interface thing, and with PhantomJS that Jos has been implementing to prevent from having a graphical interface from showing up, which starts to get a very, very advanced and reliable quality assurance system. So, kudo. Okay, let's part of a talk about the demo, because we are almost at the end. And where the bugs and limitation, we need more extended tests, and at some point we need the integration into Jenkins. So, the upgrade process, ooh, spooky thing. It has a long history, but we don't have, hopefully we don't have time to tell you too much about it. It lets you upgrade your mailbox from an Exchange server to an openchange server, and we have a limited set of features that we can provide. It's not yet in the openchange packages that you are going to download today, because you are going to try it as soon as you get out of this room, but it's going to be available as of next week once we have finished polishing small details. But here is we have a running live demo of what you can actually accomplish. So, it's using the OCPF underlying technology, and OCPF is a library from openchange. So it's using libmappy to fetch all of the information and store them into text files. So you can see the limitation in terms of scalability. If you store a message with binary data, and this binary data is mapped into hexadecimal readable thing, at some point you have a limitation when you scale up. So it's good for mailboxes that are 300, 400 megabytes, but when we are attacking mailboxes with 1 gigabyte, 10 megabyte, 1 terabyte, then it starts to show some limitations. So at some point we're going to have to either change the underlying technology, or just move to another library. Okay, so the demo time. This one is very recent. I mean, pay attention to the hour on the bottom right. Again, I'm doing it for me. Okay. So, in this one, in the background, we have, I just explained to you how it's working. Let's just see at the demo. So I'm logging into my, my Windows workstation. I'm logging at the user, and then I'm looking into my mailbox, which is on an Exchange server this time, and I'm looking at contact. And well, you've seen, Samuel is, well, he could be French. He likes to talk about himself. So we have something like 242 Samuel Cabrero. So, well, I think we can just applaud Samuel for this great help. So what we are going to do is migrate all of these contacts out of an Exchange server into an openchange server. So we are logging into the Windows workstation and prepare the environment for the new profile that is going to work directly against an openchange server. So this time we see the Zentyal 3.2.1. So this is the Zentil DC with openchange. So it's a different domain. They are not joined. So it's actually two distinct servers. So now I go to the contact and I see that my contacts are empty right now. So what I'm doing now is go to, okay, in the mail, I'm going to the openchange mailbox migration, and I'm going to enter the origin of a server name from which I want to export the information. So in this case, the IP address of the Exchange server. Otherwise, I can also select on the right. I mean, if it appears, if it's an additional domain, I could just select it. I enter the admin user, so I can do migration. And then I just enter the credential of an admin user locally, so I can do everything. Here I have my mailbox that I want to migrate, so it lists all the available users, and I can select one of them and click on Estimate the migration. And it will go recursively for the entire mailbox and calculate the amount of data, the number of items, the number of folders, and how much time it will ask. And when I click on Start Migration, then it starts migrating all the data. So it's doing about transactional states. So it first export everything from the server, one folder, then import everything. And this is how the progression state is working. And when we were saying that the migration is, you are 3 clicks away from a migration, well, it's 3 clicks plus two credentials to enter. So that is pretty easy. And so in the end, so it takes a little longer because, well, it takes a little longer, that's all. And at the end, we are going to switch back to Outlook to see the contact showing up once we synchronize. The very nice thing with it is that we have the GUI. The GUI where is a perf CGI, and it's using RabbitMQ is using a queue system to control a C program that is doing the migration thing, and the C program is sending events back to the queue to say, hey, this is the new update, new update, new update, and it's going to go to 100%. I'm not worried because I've already seen the video, so it just give me time to talk. And okay, shall you go to 100%? Okay, migrated. It didn't go to 100%, but anyway, it's migrated. And now I can go directly to my Outlook. I can synchronize my mailbox. Go to the contacts. Okay, go to the contacts. Finish the synchronization. Lot of contacts. Lot of Samuel. This is one of the classical errors you will see. Don't spook, don't be worried. It's just that we don't have the implementation for the offline address book. It's just we don't have it. So it's a normal error. It doesn't have any consequences. And here we have all of the contacts migrated. So hey, yay, who, happy. So, well, this is something that we are going to improve over the next week and make it more fancy and available for you. Okay. So very alpha. We don't have email and attachment supported yet, mainly because email requires that all of the users are already in the other system and you are sharing the same environment. Otherwise, you can't do the recipient things and everything. So what is next? And I'm just going over the question. Well, we need you. We need you to test the software. We need you to tell us, to assess the solution and tell us very honestly, are you happy with it? Do you find limitation, blockers? What are the blockers? And in the end, what we are engaged to do is provide a compatibility matrix so we can have this interoperability compatibility matrix between openchange and Outlook and see what is working, what is not working with this backend. And so you know exactly what you're engaged to and what you come into with a customer. And if you have found a bug, are you sure that is not a feature? Because sometimes it can look like a bug, but it's a feature. Is it a crash or a missing behavior? And can you provide us a detailed scenario so we can reproduce it on our local testing environment? And if you were very kind enough to provide us a way to provide, just to give additional information. So, common question. Is it available in all editions? Yes, it is. The word is a village. I don't have time to explain the analogy, but I would be happy to do it later. When it is available right now, you have the deb repository. You can go grab it. Compatibility. Do we have? It's just to fix something I said yesterday. When I said, is it only available with Microsoft Outlook clients? Yes, if you only use Outlook. And yes, if you only run openchange server. But if you run the Sogo server in the backend, then you also have the Thunderbird support. So we've also contact and calendar. So you have the whole thing available. So it's only Outlook compatible if you only use the openchange side. If you just run the Sogo daemon, then you will have the Thunderbird thing. So it's just in case that this is something that you require. And wow, I went over it, but I don't know if we have time for questions. Probably not. 2 questions, 2 minutes, or 2 questions?
Whatever it is.
Or 2 something. Does someone have 2 something for me?
Everyone wants to eat, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you are starving, guys. So thank you very much for attending.